morning. I am back up in my sewing space today. I was thinking about this project at 2:30 till about 4 o'clock this morning. Not just that, but other things. And I've decided I'm going to make some changes to the sleeve and the arm side because I am not happy with it. Now, originally I combined, like I was saying, I combined the penny dress and the new look dress. And what I did was use the neckline for the penny dress and the arm side for the new look dress, but for some reason, I don't know why, because it doesn't show on this, but the arm side was down here on the shoulder, whereas the penny dress, this is the penny dress that I've made before, you can see the arm side is right up here where it should be, but for some reason the new look one isn't. So what I'm going to do is unpick my sleeves again, and I'm going to see if I can trace the arm side from the penny dress onto the pattern, the fabric pieces that I have for the checky dress. And what I want to do, I have all my pattern pieces here, is the sleeve for the size that I did this penny dress I think is a bit small. I will check, so I might need to adapt the sleeve slightly to fit. I'm not sure, but I'm going to use the pattern, arm side pattern for the penny dress and the arm, you know, the matching sleeve side, sorry, so the sleeve top for the same for the penny dress, and see if I can get those to work with the pattern for the fabric pieces I've already got cut out, because obviously I'm not really going to have enough fabric otherwise, and see if I can add some extra sleeve into the penny pattern. Because when I did this, I cut out and made, I have the plus size version of this, and I cut out the smaller size, which is the size 18, but the sleeve size for size 18 I think is a bit snug. I should have it here somewhere actually. This is the pattern piece, and I extended it longer because originally on one of these dresses I was going to make the sleeves, but I wanted them longer sleeves. But when I like kind of put it on my arm, it's, you know, it's a bit snug. It's not really what I want. So I need to figure out how I can work that. I mean, in theory the arm side's fine, it's just the sleeve, so I need to kind of wrap my head around how I'm going to make that work. So that is my first task for this morning. I want to get this done and get it out of my head space, really. So the penny dress actually comes with cutouts for both versions, which are pretty much identical. The only difference between them being that version 1 has sleeves and pockets sewn onto the front, but all the pieces are pretty much identical. So I cut out the version that I hadn't cut out previously, but I've cut it out as the biggest size, which is a size 26. The idea being that I can use the arm side and the sleeve from the larger size, hopefully, or as close as I can possibly fit it. So I found the piece that I had trimmed off for the sleeve in amongst the paper, and I have washi taped it back on, so the sleeve is kind of roughly the biggest size. And I've cut out the front bodice piece and the two back bodice pieces, and just stuck them together with washi tape, because the back has a back yoke and a back bodice. It's not attached there because it has this curved seam in the middle, but the arm side is stuck together there. So what I'm going to do now is get my dress fabric and lay it out and try to match up the arm side for the larger size, but I will be putting it in at the shoulder point for the original size. So instead of where the size 18 is like a closer line on the bodice, instead of using the outer line there, I will shunt the outer line over to my preferred line for the original bodice, and just draw the arm side from that point. I have the original pieces that I used here, so I'll lay them out on the fabric so I can make a mark for where I want the arm side to start, and I'm hoping that'll fix the fit issue, and I'm hoping that I have enough fabric in the dress to be able to do that. Otherwise I might have to modify it slightly, but at least hopefully I will get a better arm side fit. So I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see on camera, but I've managed to do the arm side on this side, and it's looking a lot better than it did yesterday. I've just got the sleeve and the side pinned at the moment just to check the shape, but it's fitting nice. It's up here on the shoulder rather than down here. This side is just a mess, actually. You can't really tell on this side because I was French seaming and I've decided not to French seam, but you can see the arm side was right down here, so that's much better. So now I just need to do the same on this side. I'm not French seaming anymore. I've just, you know, sewn the two pieces together. Then I will do a finishing stitch on the raw edge inside instead, because I don't have a serger. But that's much better, and it's not, it was pulling too much across the back before, so it's a lot better now, much better than this side. Yep, so just got to do it all again. So I'm trying to do inseam pockets whilst French seaming. So I had to look on YouTube. So I'm just trying to remember. It's wrong sides together, then right sides together, then wrong sides together, then right sides together. So wrong sides together, the pocket and the skirt. Then right sides together for the pockets. Then wrong sides together for the whole garment, and then right sides together again. I think. I hope so. I think that's right. I really struggle with like French seams, but I'm hoping I'm doing this right, hopefully. And I just want to get this finished now. I'm kind of amazed that actually worked. I've only done one side so far, but I have the makings of a sleeve. I just need to do something with the end. And I have, if I can find it, I have a pocket. I have an actual pocket. Ta-da! And it actually did work. It's nice and it's tiny. I'm really happy with it. This is, I can't seem to wrap my head around how these things work, which is a bit silly, but my brain just won't compute that way. So I just have the other side to do. Which is half done because I've already attached the pocket pieces, so it's just put wrong sides together the garment and sew all the side and around the pocket and down the side, and then turn it the other way around after trimming up the edge, and then sew the side again. So, and then all I will have is the sleeve ends to finish, the collar, the hem, and the buttonholes, which I've never done on my sewing machine before. In fact, I don't think I've ever done buttonholes before. Maybe the odd random one a long time ago. So I will need to have a little practice on using the buttonhole foot for the machine, because like I think I had a go on it when I first bought the sewing machine and I haven't touched it since, so I need to figure that out. So I'm going to finish off this side of the dress and then figure out what I'm going to do next. So I'm having to be very careful how I hold this dress closed because I don't want to flash the camera, but you can see I have sleeves. I have no cuffs yet, but I have sleeves, and if I can find it again, I'm trying not to flash the room, I have pockets. Nice comfortable height, not like right up here, nice comfortable height pockets. I can just slip my phone in when I'm walking around the house. Again, try and be very careful here. Arm scythe, very nice and neat, if I do say so. The back could have done with a little bit of extra room at the back, but it should be fine. But if I make another one, I will probably use the next size up on the pattern. At the moment I've kind of got the front crossed over, but it will be slightly further apart when wearing it. So again, it could have done with being a little bit bigger, but I think the dress has to slip a little bit further back yet as well once the collar's done. So once that happens, it actually feels more comfortable on the back. So, but that's a job for another day, because I need a cup of tea and I can't believe anybody does this for fun. So, knitting. I have nearly finished one sleeve of the Let's Boogie sweater. Oh, the light's really quite bright in here considering it's so dull outside. I have nearly done. I think I need another 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches before the colourwork section. There is a couple of inches of colourwork on the end of the cuffs and I'm a bit worried I'm going to run out of yarn. I weighed this yarn at 3 in the morning and I have around 60 grams left. So I kind of worked out a rough idea of how much I've used on the sleeve, and I put the sleeve on the scales to get a rough idea, and so far I've used about 50 grams. So if I knit just a wee bit more, and then the other sleeve I should have just enough to do the other sleeve. But that means there'll be no more left at the bottom. But I can kind of get around that because there is colourwork at the bottom of the sweater as well. Plus I do have plenty of the orange left, so I can always make the rib just that bit longer as well. The same goes for the sleeves. I'm going to try it on, double check how much extra length I want before that colourwork, but I can always extend the colourwork and add a little bit extra in as well. The same goes with the body of the sweater. It's at a kind of a cropped length at the moment. Comfortably it wants to be about another 4 inches to the bottom of the hem. So with a 2-inch hem and 2 inches of colourwork, it's probably enough, to be honest. I like a sweater like this one. It's not just going to be worn like over like a dress. I want to be able to wear it with jeans. So I want it to go just past the tummy pooch. So that's my sweet spot for a sweater with jeans. I mean, I don't mind going a little bit longer as well, but it wants to be just past the belly, and it might mean I just have to do a little bit longer on the rib, but that's okay. I think the bottom, I don't have the pattern in here, but I think it's got more of the candy corn on the sleeves. I don't know if it's got it on the bottom of the sweater as well, or whether it's just got some chevroning. But if it's only got a little bit on the bottom, I might even add in a little bit of this part of the colourwork, or some of this part of the colourwork at the bottom, some of the more finer detail just at the bottom, just to lengthen it, and then add extra rib if needed, or just maybe just use up the yarn, to be honest, because I don't, or do I have another skein of this? I might have another skein of this upstairs actually, but I don't have any more of this particular batch of the speckle yarn. I don't know if it's going to show up on camera. Yeah, it's, in fact they're from 2 different batches, but they're really close, this one. But I do have a tiny bit left over from another batch, but it is very much different to this. It's a lot more gold in it. At a push I have a little bit of undyed that I can kind of weave in with the colourwork in the chevroning if needs be, and of course I've still got plenty of the hand spun, so maybe I could just do some of the striping and chevrons with the hand spun at the bottom just to kind of give it that little extra length. But I'm gonna see how I go. I'm going to, like I says, find out how much extra length I need on the sleeve and then work from there, even if it means stopping and putting this on some scrap yarn and then knitting the second sleeve and just seeing how much I have, and just kind of, so I don't run out on the second sleeve. I shouldn't. Alexis, I think I've used around 50 grams on the first one and I have 60 left, so in theory there should be plenty, but I do have a habit of playing yarn chicken. But that also has the advantage of it uses up basically everything. I like to use up all of a yarn for a project if possible. I don't like lots of little balls of yarn hanging around. I don't mind a little bit, you know, if you need to like do a little bit of repairing, but I don't like 30 grams of this ball left over. So if I'd rather make something that little bit bigger, like a shawl, I like to use up all the yarn set aside for the shawl, and then it's done with, because chances are good I won't have a use for that yarn. The exception would be a sock yarn, either a commercial sock yarn or a BFL. I'm trying to avoid buying any more merino sock yarn, because it just doesn't hold up for me. I'm just too heavy. I'm just too heavy on my feet, and it wears just way too quickly. All the merino based sock yarns that I do have for socks and I'm using for socks, I tend to put some Eye of Partridge slip stitching on the ball of the feet, which is where it wears out for me. And I do have a few. Sometimes it's irresistible to buy a merino yarn because the colour is fabulous. I'm looking at you, Marcus on Fiberpunk, because Elsa, that Halloween yarn is fabulous. I love my Halloween socks, and I have half the skein left to make a second pair of those, but they're merino, but I can't resist a nice colourway. But again, slip stitching on the base of the heel. So yeah, but if it's leftover sock yarn, I think, trying to go back to where I was, if it's leftover sock yarn like a BFL nylon, I can put that in a pair of socks. Or if it's leftover commercial sock yarn, again, I can put it in a pair of socks, even if it's just the cuff on a pair of socks, or the toes and heels on a pair of socks, or mix it in with something else as stripes. But the merino nylon, there isn't a lot of use for, say, 20 grams left over after a project, because I don't really do scrappy projects. The exception being this, of course, but this you need a lot of leftovers to make. This is the Bubble Cardigan by Stephen West, and you can use like 5 colours, but I've used lots of minis. But again, I don't really do scrappy projects, so I don't have a lot of use for those little balls of yarn hanging around, and I don't make little items very often. In fact, I haven't made like little items for years, probably since I did my little crochet pumpkins and stuff. Like, that must be getting on for 10 years ago now. So yeah, maybe I should do I say I should make a granny crochet something, maybe one day, but I have too many things in my mind to do, and I have a couple of bigger projects I have in mind for next year. Well, after the Christmas sweater and finishing off all the other things that are on the needles, I have a big project I want to start for next year. Well, I say it's not a big project, but it kind of is. It's like a year-long project, but I can talk about that more after Vlogtober. And I have other kind of bigger long-term projects I'd like to work on next year as well. So crochet blankets are definitely not a priority. Okay, I think I'm gonna have, do I have time for another cup of tea before I make dinner? I'm not sure, because time is ticking, but we shall see. Otherwise, I'm going to have a quick look at this and decide what I'm going to do before cooking dinner, and then it's ready for this evening, because knitting time, telly time in the evening is knitting time.